order has mosquitoes, flies, gnats, etc. They have complete metamorphosis, egg, larva, pupa, and adult. They have one pair of wings or two wings, so that's why Diptera, or they're wingless. And they have halteres, which are a reduced pair of hind wings, you can see in this picture. They have various types of mouth parts, including chewing. Here are fungus gnats. So fungus gnats are very small, about 2 millimeters long, 2 to 5 millimeters long. They lay their eggs in the soil. The eggs hatch in about 4 days. And there are 4 larval instars that grow up to about 8 millimeter in length. They're clear with visible internal organs. They have shiny black head capsules. Initially, they feed on root hairs and algae. They may feed on the insides of roots. They may bore into larger roots or stems that are in the soil. They may also feed on leaves touching the soil. And then the root feeding can introduce pathogens, and there may be one generation within 3 weeks in warmer greenhouse situations, or 40 days in the cooler greenhouse situation. This is primarily a greenhouse or indoor pest. So root feeding can cause wilting even though the plants have been sufficiently watered. They've probably been overwatered. That's really the indicator. They are a sign of overwatering, so that's something to keep in mind. So you can see severe damage in propagation areas. They also spread other diseases on their bodies and in their feces. They don't even have to feed on something. They can be a real nuisance as adults in large numbers, and when I used to water plants in buildings, this is the one thing that drove my clients crazy, because when you go to water your plants, if there are any fungus gnats in that soil, they're going to come up and start flying into people's faces, and they don't care about mealybugs and aphids. They hate the gnats, so I used to get paged to go deal with these things. Keep your production area free of weeds and algae. Reduce your watering. It's definitely a sign of overwatering. And use completely composted organic matter if you're going to use organic matter. Also be aware that some commercial sources of peat may be infested with fungus gnats. And if you're trying to manage algal growth in the greenhouse, use hydrated lime under the benches. There are some biological control agents, including nematodes. These are general feeding nematodes. You can get them for any number of pests. Predaceous mites, and Bacillus thuringiensis, which you may have heard of for caterpillars. This particular one attacks members of Diptera. Natrol is the brand name. Natrol is not an inexpensive product, however, so cultural controls should be thought of first. Yellow sticky cards placed in the greenhouse will capture adult fungus gnats, and if you have enough of them, they can actually knock down the populations pretty well, but they're really more of a monitoring tool. And your larval populations can be monitored with cubes or slices of potatoes pressed just into the soil. Here are these lovely guys just feeding away. Okay, another pest we have in our area, the carrot rust fly. The adult's about 1/4 inch long. They're shiny and dark in color. They have yellow heads and legs. Lovely picture, huh? That's actually the larva coming out of this carrot. They lay eggs around the crowns of host plants. So carrots, celery, dill, parsley, anything in that particular plant family, and you can have 2 to 3 generations per year. So the maggots burrow into the roots, and you can see the tunneling and surface issues. You will see rust-colored frass coming out. They may also feed on small fibrous roots. Here's a batch that have been infested with carrot rust fly. So damaged plants usually have a yellow appearance and stunted above ground and may die. They're about 1/3 of an inch long, the larvae, and yellowish to tan in color. And they can pupate in an area where they have been in the soil. So it's very important to do sanitation. Here's the larva. Another picture in case you didn't get that the first time around. Nice close-up. So it's really important to manage weeds in and around the garden, especially anything that's in the Apiaceae. Floating row covers can be put on immediately after planting to prevent egg laying. And you don't want to use floating row covers on soil that's previously infested. Of course, it's really important that you rotate your crops so you don't have this problem. There are a lot of floating row covers that have various opaqueness, so you can get a good amount of light. You can still have photosynthesis happening. And when you're talking about carrots, you don't need to worry about them flowering, so you don't need to worry about pollination. Do not leave the carrots in the ground through the winter. If you harvest early, it can minimize the damage by the fall rust fly infestations. Of course, rotate crops, which I've already talked about. Another lovely member of this family are apple maggots. So they're actually kind of pretty. They're very small, black and white, 1/4 inch to 3/8 inch in length. So the female lays eggs on the apple fruits by puncturing the skin. And then the larvae feed inside the fruit. You get these irregular brown tunnels. In addition to the larvae in there, microorganisms can enter the tunnels as well. And then the maggots drop to the ground where they pupate and overwinter. The flies emerge in the summer, and the early maturing apples tend to be more severely affected. Apple maggots may also feed on crabapple and hawthorn. So you want to monitor, and the yellow is to attract the flies from a distance. The red, these are all sticky. The red obviously looks like an apple, so you may be able to attract them with that. They do emerge from soil in June or July, so you definitely want to make sure that you are timing your monitoring. Once you find them, you need to apply control treatments within 7 days of trapping them. And if they continue to be caught, you're going to have to repeat treatments in 2 to 3 weeks. So one of the treatments is not really a pesticide, it's kaolin clay, and it's a film, and you apply it every 7 to 14 days or more often if it's raining. But you want to maintain this visible film on the fruit so they're not interested in laying their eggs on it. And spinosad is a naturally occurring soil-dwelling bacterium. What it does is it excites the insect nervous system, and the insect dies within 1 to 2 days. So this is another thing you can use. This is able to be used in organic systems. So this may be another thing to try.